Top 10 Biggest Mario Mishaps. The Super Mario franchise is the most well-recognized video game series worldwide, with many accomplishments to its name. That being said, it's impossible for anyone not to make a mistake in all those years, and our favorite plumber is no exception. As a matter of fact, today we'll be discussing the top 10 Mario mishaps. We love Mario and his pals, so don't take anything in this video the wrong way. All of this is completely subjective. We just have to be honest where mistakes were made, so stick around to the end and leave a comment after the video if you agree or disagree with our list. Without any further ado, let's count down our least favorite Mario mishaps. Number 10. Ignoring Daisy. We're starting off our list with a blunder turned wonder, a mistake finally rectified after fan demand for so long. Princess Daisy has been a fan favorite character in the Mario series for her appearances in its various spin-off titles, but has never been playable in a console platformer until now. Releasing later this year, Daisy gets her fair dues and joins in on the fun with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Many fans expressed how excited they were following this announcement, and others were surprised it took this long for her to show up in a mainline entry. With all the new power-ups and other gameplay mechanics we've seen so far, there's a lot to look forward to in the future, which makes it all the more important to learn from the past. Number 9. Painful minigames. If you played the Nintendo 64 as a kid, you probably remember how fun it was to play games like the original Mario Party for the very first time. You also probably remember those blisters you got on your palms from spinning the control stick on the N64 controller during minigames like Tug of War and Deep Sea Divers. This was such a common problem that Nintendo started giving away protective gloves to people who owned the game. It would be years before similar minigames would return in future Mario Party games, and some think this reason is partly why the first game was never released for the Virtual Console service. The original Mario Party would finally return with Nintendo Switch Online, but not without a warning that urged players not to use their palms to rotate the control stick for certain minigames. Ouch! Number 8. Mario Party 8 gets recalled in the UK. The party problems didn't stop after the first game. The release of Mario Party 8 was delayed in the United Kingdom due to so-called production issues. Even after this delay, it turned out that there were still wrong versions of the game being bought in stores that had a term that could be considered offensive in the game's text. This would cause copies of the game to be recalled until its re-release 2 months later. After that, it became common for European and American versions of Nintendo games to have more differences between them, possibly to avoid similar situations. It can be interesting to think about differences in culture and how they can reinterpret something differently, but some interpretations are less super than others. Number 7. Super Mario Bros. Movie, 1993. As Mario became even more famous, Nintendo stuck their fingers into a lot of pies and sometimes bit off more than they could chew. The prime example being the original Super Mario Bros. Movie from the 90s, Mario's first Hollywood production, and still considered one of the worst movies of all time. A combination of very controlling directors and a cast and crew uncertain of the project from the get-go made it so the movie experienced a very turbulent production and release. However, fans have embraced the movie for what it is, being surprisingly influential as a special effects feature and as proof Mario's influence in pop culture. Number 6. Mario Family. While there have been a few times the Super Mario franchise was overambitious, there have also been times when it felt like they just let the Goombas get behind the steering wheel to crash and burn. Oftentimes, these titles were so odd they just never left Japan, including Mario Family, a Game Boy Color title that required the use of a specific sewing machine that could link itself to the handheld device and embroider Mario-related designs onto clothes. An idea as charming as it was impractical, given its sales. If you can believe it, this wasn't even the first knitting-related Mario product to be created. There's a whole bunch of weird, unlocalized games that are deserving of their own list. If you want to see that kind of list made on our channel someday, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Number 5. Edutainment games. Mario has a handful of weird novelties and an equal amount of snoozers. Arguably, the most memorable are the series of Mario educational games, created when similar games were rising in popularity. These games were made mostly with good intentions. After all, how can teaching kids history or even how to type be a bad thing? However, most had clunky controls and can be a bit dull in presentation for a younger demographic. Although these games were among the first to feature Charles Martinet as the iconic voice of Mario, they did not stand the test of time and were outperformed by their peers. You win this round, Mavis Beacon. Number 4. Hotel Mario. As you might have guessed from the rest of our list so far, Nintendo experimented a lot with the Mario brand back in the day, and a lot of those experiments turned out to be not so great. As far as games go, you won't find a better example than Hotel Mario. Hotel Mario's reputation as the worst Mario game ever made has only grown in retrospect. It blended in with the likes of the educational games and 1993 film, but nowadays stands out among them, and not in a good way. Repetitive gameplay, bad controls, and awkward presentation. Even in that sense, they were outdone by the 3 Legend of Zelda CDI games, which have earned an iconic meme status at the very least. Even among the worst, it's only second best. Number 3. Mario's mobile monetization. It's not a surprise that Mario eventually made his way to mobile devices and has had 3 different titles on the mobile market. All 3 have faced very similar criticisms due to their use of microtransactions. This is nothing unheard of when it comes to mobile gaming, but it's still disappointing when a beloved video game icon such as Mario adopts these same kind of practices in otherwise fun games. Nintendo has openly reflected on these monetization models, even going so far as changing certain mechanics in Mario Kart Tour to make the game more consumer-friendly. However, this wouldn't be the last time Nintendo would use Mario as a means to entice customers for quick money. Number 2. Super Mario 3D All-Stars Scarcity. During the 35th anniversary of the Mario franchise, Nintendo released a compilation title for the Switch, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which had high-resolution versions of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy all in one, for a limited time. On top of lacking Super Mario Galaxy 2 in this compilation, the time-limited release only lasted for about half a year, and Nintendo was immediately criticized for it. According to the president of Nintendo of America, Doug Bowser, allegedly no relation to a certain Koopa King, there are no plans to follow this releasing strategy for other events. We hope this is the case, despite the compilation still selling very well overall. As we've said before, we love Mario, and we love to see him shine and reach the stars and beyond. We can only hope he gets the opportunity to do so. Number 1. Bowser's Inside Story 3DS Remake. The 3DS remake of Bowser's Inside Story, a game originally released on the Nintendo DS system just 8 years prior, wasn't so much a mistake as it was a tragedy. It's still a great game for the majority of people who played it, but only a minority of its target audience actually purchased it, given its abysmal sales numbers. One of the worst selling games in the franchise, to be precise. Even many of those who did buy the game still felt that a remake of the original game felt too soon and that changes to the game's art style were unnecessary, especially since the game's predecessor, Partners in Time, was skipped over in favor of Inside Story due to its popularity. Alpha Dream was desperate for big sales as the other 3DS games they made were already underperforming, including the remake of Superstar Saga. Unfortunately, all of these problems, on top of releasing near the end of the 3DS system's lifespan, meant that this was a big swing and a miss. Alpha Dream filed for bankruptcy, closed shop, and took the Mario and Luigi series with them. Some dreams have to come to an end, but maybe someday we'll see the Dream Team back in action. For now though, we have to keep their stories inside our hearts. That's all from us today with Mario's biggest mistakes. What do you think is the worst mishap? Would you rather have Mario Party blisters once a month or beat Hotel Mario once a day? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe if you learned something new or want to watch more videos like this.